Hey guys, welcome to the Final Whistle podcast. And what a weekend of football it's been. The Merseyside derby was postponed. Liverpool's rivals, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City, failed to pounce. Chelsea, however, emerged as new title challengers, closing the gap to 4 points after that 4-3 thriller against Spurs away. And joining me to talk about all the weekend action, there wasn't much of it, let's be honest. I'm delighted to be joined by my co-host, Ben. Welcome to the show again.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this weekend just watching other teams kind of fall over while we just kicked our feet up, haven't we? So
Yeah.
obviously it was a bit gutting that Liverpool didn't play. You always want to watch Liverpool, but it's been kind of a welcome sort of break of a weekend, which is ironic because when the international breaks were here, we hated them. But yeah, it's been quite fun actually.
It has been fun, but what kind of fan are you? Because like obviously, I felt like the games were in drip yesterday because obviously the 12:30 was cancelled, the Liverpool game,
Yeah,
and then if you wanted to watch some live football, you had to wait all the way at night, and you can always count on Man United to give you a bit of an entertainment, which we'll get to in the show, but. I sit there and obviously at 3 o'clock you see the Man City result and I'm just sat there thinking I shouldn't be so judgy because like my team hasn't played, but it's hard
yeah.
not to. It's really weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, I think on that, I mean, not touch wood anyway. Liverpool have kind of earned the right to give us that confidence of we can still kind of look at other teams' results and with a bit of a smug look on our face. But yeah, I was the same. I had the notifications on my phone for the Man City game, and I saw they were 1-0 down, and yeah, it's one of those notification roller coasters. But yeah, and then we'll get around to all the games, and then Arsenal as well today. Same. I've been out today, so I didn't actually get to watch the games live. So yeah, it was another notification job.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people kind of manage through that, and it's more about emotions and feelings anyway. So let's talk about Spurs 3, Chelsea 4. I mean, Spurs did that classic thing again where they start off so quick, fly out, get two really quick goals. I mean, I guess the talking point in all this is Cucurella and just slipping everywhere, and both slips lead to a goal, and then him having a kick off at the kitman, getting a new pair of boots. Um, yes, I thought the first half really kind of descended into like a basketball match. It was like end to end. The tempo was high, the intensity was high. The Spurs crowd were ready up for it, and Chelsea pulled one back. But I guess obviously things fell apart, and I guess one of the key talking points would probably be the injury of Romero and Dagestan, I said that horribly, came on. And I feel like that's where the game kind of maybe turned on its head. But classic Spurs, I thought defensively were absolutely shocking. And I think Chelsea, I know Cole Palmer like swatted off the comments post-match last weekend, but we need to talk about him because, we need to talk about Chelsea because I know like their goalkeeper's a bit suspect, but they are just quietly just getting on with it.
Yeah, and I've seen some people reluctant to say the Chelsea are title contenders, but to me, yeah, title races are quite simple. You're in it until you're not, and as long as they keep on winning, they are in the title race. I mean, especially above the likes of Arsenal and Man City, it's hard to argue against it. And yeah, like I said, Palmer was brilliant, and I think some people, I mean, myself included, have questioned his ability to dictate these big games, and I thought today he done really well at that. So yeah, really impressive from Chelsea, bar in the first 20 minutes anyway.
Absolutely, and we've got a comment there from Razarali saying that chance that Son had, he should have scored. Yeah, in the beginning of the second half. Yeah, that was a glorious chance, and any other day he puts it away. Spurs are just so Spursy. I think they're so erratic. And do you want to know something? I was actually fully banking on a Spurs win, considering how Spurs are.
Yeah, it would have been so typical of Spurs to go and win, wouldn't it? But I don't know. I've been saying it for a while about Postecoglou. I'm just not sold, and the way the defense is absolutely. I think, like we were saying about when they were 3-0, 4-0 up against Man City, we were like, we're just waiting for them to kind of collapse, aren't we? But you can never be too sure with Tottenham, and you're never going to get anywhere with a defense and like a mindset like that.
I know, unfortunately, I don't know any Spurs fans, Ben, but I would be very interested, and I don't really follow many on social media as well. Maybe I need to start like looking and searching, but I do wonder how they feel about the up and down kind of, like not at a level state. Like, how do they gauge? How can you gauge how Ange's doing when he can beat Man City 4-0? And then like lose to Ipswich, for example. Like I feel like every manager kind of has a baseline you can and a team, and you kind of get a feel for where they are. And I feel like with this Spurs side, certainly this season, I don't see it. I don't get it, which makes it probably very hard to kind of question where he is and what they're doing. I guess you're just gonna, if you're a Spurs fan, you're just gonna have to buckle your seatbelt and just be in for a roller coaster ride. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what they all seem to be fine with, though. And I don't know whether it's us looking out from Liverpool fans, where you look at things completely different, but they seem quite content to play these fun, exciting matches and see where you end up. Whereas obviously fans of other clubs might look at it as you've got to win games no matter how you do it. And I think that fits Postecoglou perfectly, because I don't think he's a. It sounds harsh, but I don't think he's a winner. I think he's an entertainer, and I think that's kind of what he's built his philosophy on. And he's even said in his press conference recently that he'd rather play an entertaining game, sports and entertainment. He wants to entertain the fans more than anything. So, but the likes of Daniel Levy won't be looking at that the same way, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm really interested and intrigued to see what happens there. Let's move on now. Let's move on to the other North London side, and it was Fulham won, Arsenal won. Glorious chance for Arsenal to kind of embark on everything what's happened with City dropping points as well. And it was actually Fulham who surprisingly took the lead. Jimenez with a goal. I'm just loving him scoring goals again. It's great to see. Lots of in that Fulham lineup, there was a lot of like Arsenal throwback players, which kind of made me smile a little bit. But I don't know with regards to Arsenal. I mean, the title challengers for sure. They've got a great squad for sure. They've got great players for sure. And it was a set piece again that got them into the game. Saliba scored, and again there was a big. I don't know if you watched the game, because you did say you watched it. You saw it on notifications and whatnot. But there's that whole VAR thing again. Is it off? Isn't it off?
Yeah.
And for me, when I looked at it, I thought that one looked more off than the goal that I think Saka scored, where Martinelli was off. Just really strange, but I think it's a glorious chance for Arsenal to kind of get points. I think they'll be really disappointed, and Fulham just are quietly just like a really frustrating team to play against, who Liverpool have got playing next, by the way.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was thinking about before coming on here, is Fulham's really going under the radar. I mean, the likes of your Brighton, your Bournemouth, your Brentford are getting all the credit because they play this attractive style of football, score loads of goals, but Fulham have been just as impressive results-wise, really. And they've dropped points where performances have kind of reflected that they shouldn't have. So, huge credit to them. And I know Arsenal had more chances and better chances, but even then they still didn't create loads from open play, and I think that's a huge concern for Arsenal. I know set pieces. I mean, the fact that they've got the set pieces nailed down the way they have is a huge boost. I mean, everyone's taking the mick out of how many set pieces they've gone, but we would all take it, and it's a part of the game. And if you can capitalize on it, then yeah, fair enough. But if that's sacrificing the amount you're creating from open play, then it becomes a bit worrying.
It does, and I thought in particular as well, like, we give this player a lot of praise from Arsenal. We are talking about Odegaard here, the captain, and I felt like he had a little bit of a quiet game, and I just feel like it's no coincidence that when he or Saka are either injured or not on their A game, the team really suffers from open play kind of creativity. And I felt like this was certainly the case this time around. Second half, like you said, Arsenal applied so much pressure. I watched it, and I have to give, they will be disappointed. And I think, Fulham will be absolutely thrilled with the fact that they kind of absorbed all that pressure and, took it on their chin and, came out with a point. And I think it's a huge point for Fulham.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, going into the game with Liverpool next week, and that's going to be a tricky one for Liverpool. We've seen Liverpool sometimes beat teams, maybe not convincingly. I don't think it'll be that next weekend if Liverpool do win. Definitely don't expect like a comfortable win. Fulham will make it hard for Liverpool, but from now, Liverpool just got to do their own thing, and they've kind of won this weekend without even kicking a ball, which is nice to say. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We will see how it goes, and yeah, I think Liverpool, that rest will kind of do them quite well as well. Got another comment here. Hi guys, what a weekend for the Reds, even without playing. Yep, just kind of nicely tying in with what you just said there. Let's move on
Yeah,
to Ipswich, the team that we like. Ipswich 1, Bournemouth 2. I mean, it was an injury time dagger by Utara that kind of ruined it. I mean, I was watching the score update on this and I was like 1-0, that looks good, that looks good. Chaplin got the goal for Ipswich. And then obviously in the second half, Unal gets one back, and I don't know. Obviously, I've not, I've not watched the entirety of the game or the highlights. We're just going off what we've seen, but it's Ipswich and failing to close out games. But I'm not surprised at this one because, like we said, we keep speaking about Bournemouth, and they are a really good team to watch, and they don't give up till the end. I mean, we saw what they did to, I think it was Everton at the beginning of the season, where they had all that
yeah.
drama to win the game. They are that team that don't give up till the very end. But good for Ipswich there.
Yeah, it's one of those. I know we both like Ipswich, and we've been quite sympathetic with them at times this season, but you can't afford to drop points like that. And we'll get on to Leicester in a bit, but other teams around them just seem to have that know-how of getting over the line and get like clawing results, especially at home. They haven't won a home game yet, which is really worrying. If you're going to stay up, you need to get some points in your home games. And I don't know, McKenna seems not rattled. I don't want to say rattled because I sound like one of them fans online, like trying to wind people up. But he doesn't look comfortable, and obviously he's not because of such a where they are. But you kind of want your manager to be that energy and drag your team through, which again we're probably seeing with other teams around there. So Ipswich will be really frustrated at that, and they should have seen that out.
Yeah, you're right, and that's a really good point actually, because I remember when Bournemouth sacked, was it Scott Parker, and brought in Gary O'Neill, and it
Yeah,
took a while to kick on under him, and he kept saying, "No, I'm really impressed with how they're playing. I'm really with what they're doing," and it slowly kind of came into fruition, and lo and behold, he kept them up. Like it's
yeah,
the manager was kind of, he didn't ever once throw his players under the bus, despite how badly they got hammered by a team, and like there was this constant reassurance, which I don't think they got under Scott Parker. I know he had only a short period in the Premier League with them.
yeah,
But you are right about the manager and what kind of message he conveys to the press and what he kind of conveys behind, and ultimately that's what's going to get your players to play for you. I think you're right there. Speaking of new boys, and my word, what a shock. I think this is a shock anyway. But Brighton looked really comfortable, looked like they were
yeah,
crusading. 2-0 up, and Leicester, rude awakening for
yeah.
Brighton there. 2-all, all boy Vardy, and then an injury time equaliser by Reed. I mean, I think they could slowly be an interesting team now under Ruth Van Nistelrooy. It feels, I don't know, they feel kind of fresher. They beat West Ham midweek. Obviously, you and I didn't cover the games because we were somewhere else engaged on the site, doing the graveyard shift. But yeah, I think things are looking at the moment very promising under Ruth Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, well, they had that great win during the week, like you said, and to come back from 2-0 down, when I was saying that about McKenna, I was hitting towards Van Nistelrooy, and I know there was eyebrows raised. We spoke about the appointment; it's a risk, but he was always going to bring this sort of feel-good factor and that kind of fighting back to Leicester, which has always been a characteristic at Leicester. No matter how good the team is, they are one of those teams that won't give up until the final whistle, and it paid off today. And like I said, they seem to have that ability of getting results when they're not playing well. I still think, I know they've got a lot of injuries, but this Leicester team's capable of a lot more than what they've shown this season, and they're still outside the relegation zone. So that's promising, and hopefully Van Nistelrooy can get them in the right direction. But like I say, Ipswich will be looking at what Leicester done today and thinking, that's a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah, let's move on to the other new boys who got promoted. So this was a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. Aston Villa 1, Southampton 0. I don't know, Southampton have this trend of starting quite well, where I won't say start off well as in like, oh, they're gung-ho attacking, but they look like they're getting into the rhythm of the game. They're keeping up pace with their opposition. And then they start doing stupid things at the back. And, they had a very nearly wobbler moment. And then from that, then after few moments later, they concede a goal. I mean, Duran was absolutely phenomenal, by the way, for the way he kind of took the ball, took on the defenders. Shame on the defenders, but that is Duran, and you expect that from him. But that all happened, and yeah, again, they look so bad in an attacking sense. Southampton, their XG was 0.3.
Yeah, this is the problem that they've had all season, isn't it? It's kind of Dublin looks exciting, but apart from that, like Adam Armstrong will maybe chip in every now and then, but I don't know. They do look better away from home, though. I don't know whether it's because we've spoke about this before. I think about the way they try and play out at home, they seem a bit too confident and they just get caught out all the time. But yeah, the defensive mistakes that they make and then how blunt they are going forward, it doesn't make for good reading for Southampton at all. And I think a lot of people for weeks now have said that they're pretty much gone already. So now, but now's when they should start picking up results, because the pressure is completely off them. Like, nobody rates them really. Nobody's expecting anything. And this is normally the time of year where them sort of teams will start to pick up points and make things a little bit more interesting. But if they're going to do that, they've got to improve so much more.
They do indeed. I mean, yeah, it's not looking great. And I think they only had like 5 shots and like 0 were on target or something. I mean, it's just like really, really poor. Where do you want to go to next, Ben? I've been quite rude. I've not even asked you yet. What games?
You're probably going to guess already, but we'll go with Man City.
Okay, let's go with Man City. So again, 3:00 kickoff. Score updates for me. I get an early update on Crystal Palace scoring. I was like, well, I know how this one's gonna go.
Yeah.
Walker was absolutely was playing Munoz on side there for the goal. I think there's a trend here with Walker recently. I think just in general, but it finished 2-2. Haaland gets one back. And then it's a Hughes corner, Lacroix with a header, which the player that you think you can't pronounce his name correctly, which I think you can pronounce it correctly. But Lewis with a wonderful goal. But what did you make of his sending off? And what did you make of that whole performance? Because I felt like Crystal Palace are really coming into their own right now. Like, they're slowly just gearing away. I think that's a fantastic point for them, by the way. But just playing through the middle with ease.
Yeah, that's a problem again for Man City. That midfield looks so weak. I thought Man City were better. I thought, De Bruyne coming in made a difference creative-wise. I thought Bernardo Silva looked a bit better creatively, but defensively in the middle, they're getting overrun. Same as what they have done for weeks now. And I mean, Will Hughes, that I know people talking about Walker playing Muniz onside, but that ball from Will Hughes is a brilliant pass as well, to be fair.
Yes.
But yeah, like you say, Palace have improved. We've kind of been keeping an eye on them because they had such a poor start of the season, but they are seemingly building into the season. And yeah, they deserved the point yesterday. I know Man City had chances and couldn't really punish them, but that's kind of just what Man City have been like recently. And Palace stuck in there. And on the red card, I thought the red card was a bit harsh, if I'm being honest.
I'm the same.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's stupid for him to dive in the way he does, but like, his foot's underneath the Crystal Palace player's foot, if that makes sense. Like, if anything, the Crystal Palace player stands on him. But I don't know. Did you see Guardiola's interview after the game when he got asked about it?
Did. Yeah, it's Rico. It's Rico.
Yeah,
that's what Rico. I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying, but that is a man that is slowly losing his composure, considering he was always Mr. Cool, calm, composed, and I just feel like he looks really rattled and things are really winding him up. But I'm not judging him, because I remember that dreadful season with Jurgen Klopp when it was the Qatar World Cup, and I remember watching Jurgen Klopp's press conferences, and he'd be like, I don't like that question. I do, and I in a way you laugh at it, in a way you get frustrated, but at the same time I appreciate the fact that it kind of demonstrates that the human.
Yeah, and it also demonstrates how good he is as well. Because like, I know the Liverpool fans, and we were all singing "Sacked in the Morning." That's just football banter. That's kind of just fun. But anyone who's actually questioning and kind of like taking the mick out of the fact that he is going a bit insane, I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. And like we say, we were here with Klopp, and we found it all very disrespectful the way people were talking about him. So. And I know Man City, we all have our opinions on the club in general and all that, but you can't deny Guardiola's brilliance. And I don't want to sound like I'm feeling sorry for them too much because I'm not. I'm loving the fact that they're dropping points, but yeah, it's a shame to see Guardiola going down the route that he is because we see it with so many managers. We're seeing it with Postecoglou as well. He came and he was really exciting and everyone liked him, and then all of a sudden he's really miserable. And I think it's just what the Premier League does to managers: the pressure and the pressure from the clubs that they employed by to get the results. And I think it's just kind of what happens these days with managers.
And it ages them as well. Somebody
Yeah,
get me the latest picture of Ten Hag. I bet he looks like a newborn baby. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, literally, I mean, these same pictures of Jurgen Klopp recently on social media. The man looks like he's
Mm.
gone backwards 10 years.
Yeah,
You see Sir Alex Ferguson at Old Trafford. He looks so healthy.
yeah. And then you look at Ruben Amorim and he's already looking sick of his life.
Well, you did say when he first came in, he looks like a contestant from Love Island. I mean, we'll
Yeah,
revise that. We'll revise that in a few
yeah.
weeks. Well, speaking of him, you've teed yourself up nicely. So, what did you make of this one? Manchester United 2, Nottingham Forest 3.
Honestly, he must be thinking, what have I got myself into? Because, you know, this whole thing of like new manager bounce, you expect, oh, the first few weeks he'll do pretty well. You know, the players will want to impress him. Absolutely not. They don't look any different. The body language and the fight just wasn't there. I mean, they got bullied yesterday, and he's got to be thinking this is a bigger task than I probably expected.
Yeah, I think I watched Match of the Day, and I can't think which one it was. Was it Shea Given a while? And Shea was saying he's probably looking at it thinking, I can't believe you spent 600 million on this, and this is what I've got to work with, or something. And I just thought, you know, that was a comment that just completely banged with me. I was just like, yeah, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, they got done by a set piece again, really, like kind of early, and I mean, I literally got a glass of water from the kitchen, walked, and they were already a goal behind. And I was just absolutely shocked. I mean, Martinez in that game as well, Martinez was just absolutely horrendous. He was getting walked everywhere. I mean, I'm not judging him by his size. I'm not the tallest, but he just looks like a very, very small person.
He looks like a child at times, like
Yeah.
genuinely. And like we can talk about tactics and all this, but like having him mark a Milenkovic, it's just stupid. It's just
Yeah.
stupid. I don't know what you're expecting to happen.
Well, he headed his butt cheeks. We've all seen the image. We're all on social media. You can't escape him. It was horrendous. And then the goalkeeper as well, flapping. He is the like if you know like if anxiety was a person, it would be Onana in some instances because at times this season he's produced some great saves for them and
Yeah,
he's kept them in big moments, but he was flapping. I mean, you saw him for the second goal, like, and you know what? I was so glad that Shea Given made that analysis on his stance as a goalkeeper because I was like, he just moved too quick. And then for him to kind of reaffirm that, I was like, well, thank God, like, I'm not being overly judgy. Like, like he was like face on goal. He could see, stay in your position till you see the attacker making a move before you commit. But they were out of it by 3-1 and it looked really bad. But of course they pull one back. Fernandez pulls one back, but I just couldn't see them getting another back, despite them having all that.
no, I think yeah, it's literally just Fernandez and Diallo who look like a threat at the minute. I know Hoyland scores, but it all comes from I think Bruno actually threads the pass through to Garnacho, and then but they just Forest wanted it more, and in the end they deserved it. I know people look at the stats and Man United probably edged it in the stats, but that's more down to the state that the game was in by the end, where Forest just kind of were willingly letting them because they weren't harming them. But yeah, defensively, it's like the Chuckle Brothers, Man United. I mean, I think it's the third one where Wood heads it in and Onana and Martinez just stare at each other on the line. and then you've got Onana with a minute left trying to roll the ball 5 yards further forward and waste 45 seconds. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. Oh, it was just embarrassing. I was like, you are literally losing. Like, just put it
Yeah.
where the foul. This is what I mean. Like, like he was just a stress head. Like, if that was my goalkeeper, I'd be absolutely furious with that. Absolutely
And
in
then
those moments. And you spoke about the third goal there for Wood. I want anyone who can just go back and watch the build up to that goal and watch Martinez get turned in and out by a player twice and then run back. Like, just watch him. It is I would be disgusted if I was a Man United supporter. I can't lie. It gives me Lovren levels of defending.
Yeah, he is like that at times. He gets so lost. I mean, we saw a couple of years ago. Was as soon as you say Martinez to me, I think of Salah turning him inside out in the 7-0. But he does that so many times where he just looks lost. But like you said, like Lovren there, but Lovren had the physicality to back it up at times. Like, yes, he was a bit of a donkey at times, and yes, he made mistakes, but he had that physical presence. He'd win his aerial duels, but Martinez can't do that either.
He had a height
So,
requirement. Let's just put it nicely.
yeah.
And he passed that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, some great stats for Nottingham Forest in this one, though. First win at Old Trafford in 30 years.
Yeah.
That's huge for them. It just shows where they are at the moment, and Wood being the all-time goal scorer for Nottingham Forest now. So some nice little records there broken for Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I think Amarim's got a big job on his hands, and I do believe as well that this season, and maybe for a couple, I think he's got a bit of a free pass anyway, because I feel like he's the long-standing manager for them, and like they can't keep changing managers, and I feel like they're just going to have to kind of let him do what he needs to do, because I do think in the long term he is going to be a really good manager for them. It pains me to say it. It's just going to take a bit of time for him, because he's absolutely inherited absolute shambles.
Yeah, he is a good coach, and I know Liverpool fans will try and say this, but a lot of Liverpool fans did want Amarim at Liverpool. So he is a good coach, and if he gets the backing that Ten Hag did, I'm sure he'll make a lot more of that money. But I heard something, I think I was listening to I can't remember what station it was, but I was listening, and they were saying that apparently he might not even be able to spend in January or the summer because of how much they spent under Ten Hag because of PSR or something, because they're in that much financial issues. So he's got one hell of a task on his hands there.
He's got to turn them into, competent footballers. But yeah, I mean, again, it just goes to show how badly run that club is. If they had the intention, like, if you've given him that much money, Ten Hag, then keep him. Like that, like that's what baffles me. That's one thing I have to say about Liverpool. I know we bought Benteke and Brendan Rodgers last season, and Firmino was. Remember there was that whole rivalry between a Brendan Rodgers signing and a committee signing. I don't know if do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Firmino was definitely a committee signing, judging by his stats and his numbers, and Benteke just was a absolute Brendan Rodgers signing, but that was his last season, and they let him have that striker, but they didn't let him spend anything else, and he went. And Liverpool knew they were going to get rid of him when Jurgen Klopp was ready to take over. And I felt like this is where United have messed up, and this is where I feel like they're a poorly run club, because if you are not 100% committed and certain with the manager, and they give him a new contract as well, and then to get rid of him and to let him blow all that money is just absolutely ridiculous. And now Amarim is going to bear the brunt of it all. So yeah, I think United fans should be absolutely devastated with all that. Last game that we're talking about, Brentford 4, Newcastle 2. Their home form keeps to keep continuing and keep improving. You would not think Ivan Toney left Brentford. I mean, just magnificent stuff. So talk to me about this one, because I fist pumped this one because I'm still butthurt about Newcastle drawing to us. Just putting it out there because I didn't get to cover
it. Yeah, that was so frustrating. And Brentford, I mean, like you say, losing Toney, but we've spoke about this a few times. The fact that when you lose that kind of key figure, it sometimes benefits the team overall, and we're definitely seeing that with Brentford. You're looking at Mbeumo, that Sharda coming in and scoring again, and their home record. I don't know if you've seen this. That they've played 8, won 7, drew 1, and I think they've scored 26 goals in 8 games at home.
Oh yeah.
But they haven't won a single game away from home, so.
It's madness, isn't it? And I mean that Mbeumo lovely finish early on, 7 minutes, not as early as what they used to in the beginning of the season when they were just scoring the first 60 minutes, and then Isak, equalizes for them. You know what? I have to give a bit of a shout out to the Brentford goalkeeper, because there was a moment where Isak just kind of danced with the ball and he almost went around the keeper, and Flecken still managed to get back and just kind of pull it out of his path. And I just thought it was a brilliant piece of goalkeeping that I feel like needs to be appreciated. I feel like that goal's really underrated.
Yeah, Flecken's impressed me quite a bit since he joined Brentford, and I'm sure he's had quite a bit of minutes for like the national team as well. So He's a good keeper, and I mean, I don't know what Isaac's doing on that chance. I mean, how much time he thinks he has, I don't know. But Isaac's a brilliant player. I mean, we saw during the week when I saw he was starting out during the week. I was, here we go again. But I mean, the header that he scores is a great header, but he does still have those moments in him where I think he done it against Chelsea a few weeks ago, where he should have squared it and he took ages on the ball. And Newcastle, I mean, I've spoken to a few Newcastle fans after yesterday, and they are not happy. They're really, really not happy.
Really?
Mm. I mean, they've been kind of jumping around on this idea of getting rid of Eddie Howe and bringing someone else in, but now it feels like the majority want Eddie Howe gone.
Okay.
I speak to more people who want him gone than what I do people who want him to stay.
I think that's like quite a telling thing, isn't it? When like, you know, it shifts completely, because I think there's some people who hold on to, who are quite sentimental and be like, well, no, he got Champions League football and
Yeah.
and they hold on to those kind of past achievements, and then you slowly start losing that because the reality of right now becomes so, you know, like unbearable that you just kind of want to change. That is really, really shocking. I mean, you spoke about Flecken there. I mean, okay, yeah, it was 2-2 at the moment, but Flecken's free kick to Collins. I mean, like, you know, set piece, you know, get a goal, thank you very much. And then you spoke about Sharda there getting a goal at the end as well. But yeah, just letting that game slip from Newcastle perspective. I mean, this was quite a short show. I mean, Wolves and West Ham play on Monday. Obviously, Liverpool's game was postponed. I've got you for maybe like 5 minutes, if that. What do you make of like the whole manager thing? Like, obviously, we've seen a couple go now. Who do you think is in immediate danger?
I think tomorrow, if that ends in one of them winning and one of them losing, I think one of them will go. I know people like to make it as if it's some like WWE match where whoever loses gets sacked, but I genuinely think that is the case. I mean, I don't know if you saw the videos of the Wolves away end at Everton booing Gary O'Neill, and they've really turned on him now. So the pressure is on. I think if they get beat tomorrow, I think he'll go. And the same with West Ham. If they lose at home to Wolves, I think Lopetegui could go. But apart from that, I can't really think of anyone who's in immediate danger, really.
Yeah, I've got another comment here from Damo. Man United burying the embarrassing news that Dan Ashford is out of the door after 5 months under the bad news of a defeat of the bad defeat against Forest. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Again, poorly run club. You know, they brought him in to steady the ship, get things going, get upstairs sorted. But yeah, I agree with you on that whole Wolves and West Ham thing. I do think that for that reason, it could be a really, really good match, because I feel like two teams literally slogging for points, fighting for everything, and two managers with everything on the line. I mean, we have pretty much come to an end. Any final takeaways from you? Anything you kind of want to put out there? Get it off your chest now.
I think it's just a title race. I think this weekend now, I don't want to put the pressure on, and people might have a go at me for this, but Liverpool have kind of got to win the league now, haven't they?
He said it, not me. I'm still not saying it. I will not say it till they lift it. I will, but yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to, but they're never going to get a better chance than this.
You are right. You are right.
And I wonder whether, with Man City struggling the way they are, I wonder how much that influences like Salah and Van Dijk into wanting to stay. Because let's say Liverpool want to win it this season, there's no reason why Man City are going to need a rebuild by the looks of things. They could be looking at it and thinking a 2-year extension. I could have another couple of Premier League titles to me name by the end of it.
Stop it. Oh, God. Like two bald men fighting over a comb. Battle of the Baldies once we called this show, didn't we? You know, yeah. I think it was a Slot versus Enzo Maresca. Chelsea, yeah, I think it was. But yeah, great shout there, Damo. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm actually quite thrilled that Liverpool did have that break this week. I mean, I was gutted that I didn't get to see them, because obviously I wanted to bounce back after the game against Newcastle. But they looked so fatigued. I felt like they looked mentally fatigued again in that game against Newcastle as well. I think that rest is going to do them well. Girona, obviously we've seen them in the Champions League. They're not overly great. Hopefully, look, I think the whole rest thing is going to work out great for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby as well. You kind of hope that the likes of Jota are back. McAllister hopefully won't be suspended for that one. We are playing Fulham without McAllister. That's going to be a huge, deciding factors to see what happens there. But yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm not overly pissed off with the referees this week as well, maybe because Liverpool didn't play, but everything's calm. I'm composed. But Ben, that is us on the final whistle. You have been really busy, so I want you to let the listeners know where can people find you on social media. And rumor has it you've got some good projects going on.
Yeah, so as always, Ben Pescott Journal on Twitter, and on Anfield Index, I recorded an academy podcast with Lewis Boer, who I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. He's kind of an academy expert, and it's something we've got running on the site at the minute. Every few weeks, just about the academy, so something a bit different to your usual kind of first team stuff, which can get a bit repetitive maybe. So yeah, go and check out. The first one's up already, and it's done quite well. So it's on the YouTube and Spotify. So go and have a listen.
Indeed, we've come to the end of the show, but we're still getting comments. Arsenal seeing City in fourth and only in third themselves is too funny. Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Maybe they're battling it out for top 4 spots. But yeah, do give Ben a follow. Do check out the Academy podcast. They will keep you in the know of all the young talent and what Liverpool players are doing. It's probably a must listen as a Liverpool supporter. And I'm so glad that the pod's back. Ben, you're the perfect person to kind of revive that podcast as well. For my part, we will have a Euro incision. Usually goes on a Thursday, and we'll be back for game week. Is it 16?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, we'll be back for that one. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, and we'll catch you next week.